All right, so what did we see in Florida's last night? Well, the primaries revealed higher than usual voting among Democrats, lower than last cycle for the right, for the Republicans or MAGA, or however you want to define that side. You can't find a major poll right now that has the president above 35% popularity. He's down significantly, even in party. The two biggest areas of negatives for him, the war in Iran and the economy. Okay? And what's interesting is both were hit hard by Democrats in those races, even more than hitting Trump on the character or the apparent corruption. So what does last night mean for what is to come in the midterms? Mr. Bill O'Reilly here to weigh in. How did you see it, Mr. Bill?
Well, I think Mr. Jolly is a decent chap. He comes across as not a loon and somebody who's sincere to me. And that's very good for him on the trail. But I went to his website because I knew I had to be prepared going up against the fierce Chris Cuomo. You just don't want to walk in here and you don't know anything.
Not unless you want a beating.
That's right. So three things on his website, Jolly's website, stood out. Number one, he talks about crime disparities. What does that mean? He's going to deal with crime disparities, doesn't define it. And we all know what crime disparities have meant in New York City and other Chicago, other places. No bail. The second thing is he seems to want to give free college tuition 4 years to minorities and some migrants. I don't think that's going to play in Florida. And the third thing is abortion, which he, falls back on the cliche, oh, it's between a doctor and the woman. Well, Maura Healey in Massachusetts signed an infanticide bill. Okay, so I need a little bit more on abortion than that. So that's what Donalds is going to concentrate on. Jolly left the door open on three things that Floridians will never accept. They will never accept no bail, never accept free college tuition for one segment of the population. And abortion, most of the people who live in Florida do not really think it's a good thing. Remember, millions of people
Who thinks abortion is a good thing?
To Florida.
People think reproductive rights are a good thing. But I've never heard a woman say, you know what I like? Abortion.
Well, talk to Maura Healey. She's jazzed. Anyway, millions of people have moved to Florida. And most of those people are conservatives.
Huge registration advantage.
Donald's got a big
huge. And huge money advantage. And he's got the president on his side.
I don't know if that means anything now because Donald Trump has got to solve the Iran thing. That is really hurting him because then the prices follow that. They're haunting him. So I don't know if the endorsement, it's not going to hurt you if you're a Republican.
No.
But it doesn't have the cachet that it did. So if I'm Donalds, and he'll win, I'll make the prediction night, but it'll be close. And the Republicans have to spend a lot of money, just like in Texas. Fierce mistake having Cornyn not endorsed by Trump. And Paxton is, this guy, but the Democrats worse. So then you're dealing with.
You think Tallarico is a worse candidate than Ken Paxton?
Yeah. If the Comanches grabbed him, he'd be on an anthill in 3 minutes. Tallarico.
What does that mean?
Just so far out. I worked in Texas for 2 years, local news. He is the opposite of everything that Texas stands for. And one more thing about Florida. Florida is a state, and you pinpointed this, or it was either you or Jolly, that wants the government to leave them alone. That's what it wants. So if Donalds can shake Jolly in a debate or whatever and say, you don't want bail? What is this crime disparities? What is that?
Do you think that the president can't really do much with the economy himself, with the Congress the way it is right now, between now and then, or at least we haven't seen a lot of motivation coming from him and to make anything happen? But he can do something on the war, because when you look at the crosstabs on the polling on the war, it's not just his leading negative, which is impressive given people's concerns about the economy, but it's that it never made any sense. And that is something where you can change the rationale. You know, they have been effective financially against the regime. Why don't you just stop the military part, keep the financial part going on, and get out of there and save your party from having to own your mistake?
Listen, I don't get the daily briefings. I don't know what the intel is. All I know is that this is tied in, excuse me, to President Trump's legacy now. This is personal. As they said in The Godfather, it's business, not personal, Sonny. Okay? So he got to come out as the winner in Iran somehow. I said, if it were me, I'd go after the infrastructure, Cargill and all of that. But the president doesn't seem to want to do that. He has not explained why. I'd like to hear an explanation. But
well, his real problem with the explanation is he never convinced the American people we needed to do anything like this. That's the big problem he has.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, that's what it says in the polling.
I'm not sure about that.
They don't know what the point of the war was.
Then they're not paying attention, because the point of the war was twofold. All right? Get Iran to stop building a nuclear weapon, number one, very, very simple, by having inspectors go in on a routine basis to look. And number two, make sure that international commerce through Hormuz is not interrupted. Now, if the American people can't fathom those two things, I don't know what to do.
Well, but it's the right question. First of all, because you didn't have any problem with the Strait before the war, so it's a problem you created, so that wasn't the reason for the war. It's the reason you had to continue the war. And on the first one, you can't show people proof that Iran, the regime, was anywhere close to having a nuclear weapon. And that's why it didn't make sense.
That's where you and I disagree.
No, that's where you and the head of the IAEA disagree. You don't disagree with me. You disagree with him, because I'm relying on his words.
The IAEA has not, if you can quote me, the IAEA.
Please put up the graphic.
Please put up the graphic. Going. This is a frontline interview.
This is what Grassi said. No, it's the head of the IAEA Director General. So as to whether there was a short distance or long distance to manufacturing nuclear weapons, I wouldn't get into that, because we haven't had the access to do the monitoring we need to know. Keep going. Put up more, please. There you go. Estimates of how long Iran would need for weaponization generally vary between months to about a year. You see, so it certainly was not for tomorrow. Therefore, Grassi says it was not imminent. You went to war because you said it was imminent. That is untrue. Your problem is with him, not with me, sir.
No, my problem is that almost every person and intel service that has information coming out of Iran says that they wanted or were in the process of building a nuclear weapon.
But it wasn't imminent.
Almost everyone.
No intelligence service told the president it was imminent.
You want to play password, you go right ahead.
It's not playing password, it's playing imminency. If we're going to do something now, it has to be imminent. Otherwise, why take the risk and wind up where we are right now?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be imminent now. Iran's a terrorist state.
Yes.
Okay? It doesn't have to be now. It has to be in the process of. Okay? It doesn't have to be now. So the mistakes that we have made in the 20th century, where we allowed heinous people to build up their power and do unbelievable destruction, you just don't wait and sit back.
Well, then on that theory, Bill, you needed regime change then.
And that's what they had hoped for, because they felt that the Persians would rise, and the Persians have not. But now,
3 days in, the president said, I'm not here to change the regime. I'm okay with a theocracy there.
If the mullahs are strangled economically and somehow come to some rational agreement, Trump's poll numbers will go from 38, they're not 35, they're 38, into the 40s.
I don't have a poll that has them above 35, just for what it's worth.
Look at real clear, okay? And then the prices will come down, and that will help the Republicans. But they don't have a lot of time. There's not a lot of time. So the president says, well, I'm being patient, but I'm saying, but your party might get waxed if there's nothing positive coming out of this because people don't like it. But if we win it, then it becomes a plus for President Trump. So that's where I am on it. And I do believe that Iran's a terrorist state. I do believe they want to annihilate as many Jews and Americans as they can annihilate.
Who says they don't?
And I do believe that they were undermining as much commerce as they could that didn't hurt their own treasury. And we empowered them. The United States empowered them because they were laughing at us. We can do this, we can do that. Look, they're sending us billions of dollars, but whatever it may be. And Trump said no. But in the beginning, as you know, because you have the clip, I said biggest gamble of President Trump's life in any regard.
Well, it became the new one because the initial one, Bill,
staggering.
that we talked about on this show were the tariffs. The tariffs were the initial huge gamble because if they didn't pay off economically, he was going to have to own the downside. And he found a way to kind of one-up himself and create an even bigger risk profile. So now you got the tariffs dragging the economy and a war both on him.
That's not true in the sense that the tariffs have led to the manufacturing in the United States rising big time.
Not true.
And also kept, yes, it is. And you can look at the numbers.
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
It's not true.
Manufacturing in the United States is up above 4%. Okay, and that's tariffs. Okay, because we sell more gear now overseas because people don't want to pay the tariffs or whatever it may be. So the macro economy, and Larry Kudlow's the best at this, is okay. It's the gas and the air conditioning and the insurance and all of that that have really got the American people angry. And the president needs to get in there and address that. But I'm very, very cautious about this midterm because I believe something is going to happen in the next 30 days.
Wait, what does that mean?
Some major event.
What do you mean? What kind of major event? What are you saying?
I think that the president is going to have to take what they call decisive action, which means he's going to have to blow up a lot of the infrastructure in Iran.
You think the American people want to see a deeper escalation unless there's absolute regime change that we have to own? You think that's a winning formula?
I think the American people, you just said the word. I think the American people want to win. I think they despise Iran. There's no sympathy for Iran. Now, you teased Ossoff. I want to get to that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So
you said you'd
Ossoff
rather vote for Putin.
I would.
You'd vote for Vladimir
Ossoff
Putin, who is a murderer. You would vote for a murderer over a U.S. senator.
Well, when you frame it that way, I might stay home.
Yeah, probably a good call, Bill.
Okay. Ossoff goes out there and number one says, Trump, this is Trump's war. He lied about it, but doesn't say what the lies are. I'd like to know what the lies are because I don't know what
that they
are.
were in imminent threat of getting something, that it would be over in a couple of weeks. That's all. Go ahead.
Okay. Maybe that's a miscalculation. It's not a lie. A lie is when you wake up in the morning saying, I'm going to deceive everybody for my own gain.
Okay.
That's what a lie is. And then Ossoff attacks Natalie Harp. Now, I know Natalie Harp. And there is nobody that I know who works harder for this country. She's always on call. Okay? She is a decent human being. And I can attest to that. Why would you do that? Why would you impugn this woman's character in a cheap gutter snipe way? So Ossoff is a gutter snipe. That's who he is. And the people of Georgia should know because character counts. You know?
Bill, the man he said it about.
What?
And you're going to say, I don't do that. I know, but you only don't do comparison when it's to Donald Trump. The idea that you or a Scott Jennings have your panties in a bunch over what Ossoff said about a woman connected to the president, when this man does nothing but denigrate women for sport on a regular basis.
What aboutism?
Bill, yeah, because it matters.
It doesn't matter.
If you're going to say you don't like Ossoff talking about Natalie Harp,
Cuomo?
well, by the way, I'm not endorsing going after anybody. I'm just saying it's a little rich, Bill,
this
that
is
this
fifth
bothers
grade
you.
stuff.
No, it's not fifth grade.
This is fifth grade
Bill,
stuff.
you can't
Yes,
pretend
it's
to have a standard of decency that you don't employ on the president. You can't do that. It's hypocritical.
Button it for a minute. This is going to help your career. We're not talking about Trump and Trump's insults.
Go ahead.
We're talking about a senator from Georgia and his insults.
Yeah.
You deflect into whataboutism.
Yes.
That's fifth grade.
No, it's not. If you're going to be upset about what he said, then you need to employ that standard against the President of the United States, because that is nothing compared to what the President says for sport, and you say nothing. You say, that's Trump being Trump. Well, this is Ossoff being Ossoff.
That's not true.
Love him or hate him.
That's, again, you don't know what you're talking about.
I
I've criticized Donald Trump many times for these ridiculous arguments and insults that lead nowhere. And anybody who watches the No Spin News or sees my commentary knows that.
You were just using me as a Democrat. You were helping my career by calling me a Democratic spokesperson on your show yesterday?
I'm helping your career.
Donald Trump, Cuomo doesn't like him, like all Democrats. Like, I'm a Democrat. If I'm a Democrat,
I don't care whether you like him or not.
Then you're a Republican. Well, you said it on your show. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't care whether you like him or not. What I want you to stop is the whataboutism.
No.
It is not.
No, comparison matters. If you're going to apply a moral standard or a character standard to one side, apply it to both. That's all I'm saying. You can call it whatever you want.
Each situation is different. This woman is innocent. And did you see the news cycle today? That's all you saw. Was this woman?
That's because you guys won't stop talking about it, because you think it's going to help you put down Ossoff. That's why. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys.
I'll just point out that when Barack Obama was accused of being born in Kenya, I broke the story about the two newspapers in Honolulu that had the birth announcement.
Remind me, who was front running that BS? Remind me, who was it? Anybody?
I don't know who it was.
Donald
I did
Trump.
my job.
I forgot. It was Donald Trump that was front running that BS. See what I'm saying?
He doesn't run my operation.
Yeah, but you should call it out. You're going to say you broke the story, you went after the BS. There's the captain of the BS team. So why don't you call him out? That's all I'm saying.
I do. You don't follow it. You don't know. You just don't know.
Okay, well, I look forward to it, because he just attacked Kristen Holmes, who is a great reporter, and said horrible things about her. I don't remember you saying anything about it, do you?
Yeah, I said today, why are you bothering with this stuff?
Oh, that's it? Because that's what you say about Ossoff. You didn't say, John, why are you bothering about who he's on the plane with? You're calling him a gutter snipe and saying that this is an innocent. Kristen Holmes is an innocent.
He's a gutter snipe.
So then so is the President of the United States.
No, he's attacking a woman. He's attacking a woman who doesn't deserve to be attacked.
And the President does that all the time.
You can make an argument that the press... So what? We're talking about Natalie Harp and a senator from Georgia.
If it's wrong for John Ossoff to say it, then it is wrong when the president says it, and he does it all the time, and it doesn't matter to you the way it does now. That's all I'm saying. Look, I got to go. Dusty is yelling at me.
It's right.
Dusty is yelling at me. I'm just saying.
Dusty, tell him to stop the whataboutism, all right?
Okay. Bill,
thank you.
Take care of yourself. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.